at its core about the engagement with the students and your investment in your students. And I think there's so much, you know, like excess stuff and smoke and mirrors and social media and all these things that do exist and can be awesome tools and great things to put your content out there. But at the end of the day, a good teacher is good because they can get their information across to their students in a way that's effective and also helps them grow. And I think, you know, it's about being able to pinpoint areas in dancers, in your students of any age, of wherever you teach, any sort of setting, and nurturing their skills in a way that's most beneficial for them.
Yes.
So that's what I would say. And I think, you know, some of the best teachers are the ones that really do it with their heart and do it with a sense of just a genuine reverence for the art of teaching and for the craft and wanting to help people.
Got you. Do you feel like, I just saw somebody write in the comments.
I know, I'm trying to read. I've not seen too many Instagram lives.
Do you feel like you have to be a good dancer to be a good teacher?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be good at what you're teaching. A good teacher of your style, of your choreography. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, obviously, I mean, we're teaching dance, so you would hope that
right.
You'd be a good.
I mean, we would hope so. That's
right.
You know what
right.
I mean?
Right.
Now, do you feel like because you have like you gained this following so quickly, and you have like this big social media following, do you feel like that has like helped or hindered you in like your career? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is like, yeah, I mean, it maybe, and I think on paper or on just like what people see, it seems quick, and it has been relatively quick. But I mean, like, I've been teaching since I was in college and before college, and you know, I've been doing this for a long time, but you know, relatively long time compared to my age. And I think that I think it's helped. I mean, putting content out there on social media has helped me, and I've been able to reach so many different parts of the world and so many different people of all ages and backgrounds with my material. And I think that it's you know, it's a great tool. All it is to me, it's a tool. But if it's not backed by substance, everything will eventually come to the light if it's not backed by substance and passion and love.
No, I feel that. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
One more question. Do you feel like there is like a lack of respect for teachers who have a big following? Like, you know what I mean? Like, people kind of have like these thousands of followers and people kind of like low-key bash them. Like, do you feel like that is like a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hear or see too much of that. I mean, I think personally, I think it's foolish to, or silly to kind of just automatically judge someone's teaching based on like a number that they see on social media or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I think the only way you can truly assess someone's teaching ability and someone's you know, skill at their craft is to see them do it, to be in the room, to take their class. Because you know, and in all education across the board, everyone learns differently. So what you perceive as a bad teacher or a class that you take that may not be super beneficial to you, someone else may benefit greatly from it. So, you know, like, I think the only way to form an educated and qualified opinion about someone's skill and respect their teaching ability would be through actually experiencing their class in person. Right. But I can see how like the smoke and mirrors of following and just putting out videos and things that like that could make you form an opinion about someone, but
kind of fall into that makes them not a great teacher, because their class becomes a show about themselves, and everything they're doing just becomes about how do they feed and grow their own following or their own, you know, persona. And so you can feel that when you're in those classes. You know, I'm a student. I take everybody's class still. I lurk in the back, and I pop in everybody's class, especially the ones that are new or that are like just going off, because like Miles said, I feel like you can't really formulate an opinion about what you're seeing. You can catch a vibe, but you don't really know till you're in the room. And yeah, you know, unfortunately, I do think that without having that heart to really care that the people in your room are getting something from you that they need, then you can't really effectively instruct no matter how dope you are, because it's always ultimately going to be about you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. I feel like no matter, especially like some of these, I don't want to like, I'm a little older, but I mean, some of these younger, newer teachers, I guess, are just dancers coming up who are like dope as fuck. I feel like once you take their class, or people kind of start taking their classes, they kind of see like, okay, they're not really that good, or like they're only into themselves, or they, like people say in the comments, like they only want to see their friends dance and they don't really look at anybody else besides their friends. And I think people can feel that and they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to come back anymore or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and by the other token, being on the influencer side of things, sometimes I take class and people call me out. And I'm like, I sucked in your class. Like, I sucked. Like, you're just calling me out because I have a following and you want me in your video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just be like, no, I'm not going out there. I'm not doing it.
And they're like, oh, no, come back. You know what I mean? And they're like, no.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, thank you. I'm here to train. I'm not here to do a show, you know? And that's, you know, I think just keeping that honesty about yourself. Like, I know what I bring to the table as a teacher, and I've taken a lot of years. I've been teaching actually for 20 years. I know I don't look that old, but I am. And so I put a lot of care in cultivating and caring about the type of students that take my class and being able to cater to them. So, you know, I saw earlier somebody was asking, do people care just about teaching steps or about really supporting dancers, like becoming artists and understanding that art?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a fine line, because what I'm paid to do, like weekly, for example, at Millennium, it's very difficult to teach a structured choreography class where I'm really making them artists in like a commercial space. So I almost feel like I mentor people to become artists by just supporting them going on their own journey and digging deep into their genuine artistry, more than I can with, like, I have to teach a combo, and I don't feel like, you know, if you have to teach a weekly class, it's like,
I mean, yeah, it's I mean, I think it's hard to, there's a balance. I mean, you know, it's like some days it's just gonna be about the steps because it's just like I want to bop today. Like I just want to have fun. And there's other times where it's gonna be, you know, let's really train and let's really do something different.
Feel it, or is it about the emotion that day? Because if you train people regularly, I train people every single week over years of time at Millennium. Some classes, they are just about the musicality that week, or they're about how fast can we move, can we build our cardio endurance, and it is more like technical. So the choreography isn't necessarily artistic, it's just for the purpose of the training that we need that week. And then other times it is more about, like, can I be really creative with this piece or with this music, and how can I push people?
That's one question. It's kind of what I asked Miles, actually, because I know you have like a huge following. And I low-key saw on your story one time, but you deleted it. So I don't know if I should bring it up, but you were talking about teachers, and you were talking about just like teaching and like, I just watched it. You were talking about just how teachers who are like working choreographers, who also don't give, like, sometimes they're not really good teachers either, and they give like the bad classes, and you know, and then there's all this, like I was saying to Miles, like this backlash of people who have a bigger following, who are actually really good teachers. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess I want to get, maybe like you could elaborate on that a little bit, or maybe explain. I'm sure people didn't see it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up training before social media was a thing. So I took so many classes from people that were teachers in that era before social media was anything, before it even existed. So I trained in New York. I'm from New York, so I trained under like Rhapsody and Luam and
come through. Hey.
Yeah, people that I just like, that, you know, I always idolized, that were such great teachers, really at the core of like the way that they moved their classroom. So I also learned to teach from watching them teach as well. So I think they're great examples of people who maybe don't have the biggest following, but their background and their, you know, not only that they have an amazing resume and experience, they also have been teachers for such a long time. I think they're great examples of maybe OG people that are just like great teachers. But I think, you know, at the same time, I took a lot of classes, especially when I moved to LA, from people who had resumes like this. And I was in the class like, like, I mean, maybe my expectations were too high because I did have the opportunity to train with people that had such a high bar for teaching. But I've taken a class from a lot of people who are considered legends and have like huge resume credits and couldn't teach to save their lives. So, you know, I don't necessarily think it always is linear, that because you have a bunch of experience, you're a great teacher.
Yeah.
It's all it's all not really related almost.
I mean, I feel that. I mean, do you feel like, we kind of said it in here. Do you feel like teachers, like working choreographers and teachers, like, because I think Keenan said, like, when, you know, like they have experience. So when, you know, they can tell that when they tell their stories and when they tell their experiences about what they did on set and things like that, like, do you feel like that is just like, do you feel like that's more valuable teaching experience or like actually teaching the combo? Like,
well, you know, I don't always think it's more valuable. I think it's that you really need to have a little bit of everything. I think having that access, if you want to be a tour dancer or you want to be a dancer that works like that for major artists, then having access to somebody who can help you, you know, learn the ins and outs of that and hear that from a firsthand perspective is incredibly valuable. However, by the time you get into that room, you should have already had your shit all the way together. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there's other teachers of varying degrees of who also maybe have experience.
Does that
but
look
not.
real nice like Zaya? No.
No, you're not.
Okay,
No,
good. So many things. I don't even know where to start. To answer Roro's question, I feel like the fine line is always people use teaching sometime as a last resort because dance is not working out or choreography is not working out. So I feel like that's where the following comes in and that's where the issue comes. I feel like with teaching, it has to be something that you love. It has to be something that you practice. It has to be something that really means something to you because you have other people's careers in your hand. When I leave the studio, I'm not done. I have people DMing me. I have people asking me questions. We have people asking us questions. And you have to be ready for that. You have to have the knowledge to say, ooh, girl, you got to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people just want to make a cute step. They want to dance to Savage. Let me shut up because I talked to Savage today. But you have to be able to back that up. And I feel like that's the difference between a good teacher, Instagram teacher, a person who has following, and that's where the lines get blurred. A lot of times people can't differentiate the two.
No, I know, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, it gets really murky.
Right.
And people just think they're like super, super. Is he on the live? Sorry. Darrell, if you're in here, just send me a request.
Oh my God, Darrell has to come in. And it's always weird to me too, also, that you would feel a certain way that your teacher is standing next to you on a job. That's weird because you want a teacher who's working because they have knowledge to give you. And if you're working next to your teacher, then that means that they did their job.
I mean, that's true.
And you should also
that is also a good fact. And I think I did talk to one conversation me and Darrell was having, like outside of Studio 5 one day. He was saying, you know, when they were coming up back in 2011, 2005, whatever, they were all kind of in the same boat. So they were teaching each other, training each other. They were all kind of doing the same stuff. So I guess it's kind of literally the same thing. But I think people kind of put it at more of a standard. And also, too, when you get older, I think it's different. Maybe that's what it is. Like when you get a little older, you're like...
And it's hard just as a teacher who is still working. Like I get on jobs with my students and sometimes I'm never thinking like, oh, I'm too above you to be here. I'm looking at you like, that's what's up. Like, this is what's supposed to be happening. So why is it that you're looking at me like, well, now that I'm here, I can teach like Keenan can? No, you can't. Because I've been practicing teaching in my room since I was 14 years old before there was a classroom. You know what I'm saying? It's ego. That don't got nothing to do with me as a teacher. I'm gonna still be a great teacher. You're still gonna be a great teacher, regardless of if I'm on the job with a student or not. But a lot of people have ego and they try to like flip that back on us, you know?
Yeah, and Rora said, she was saying at an audition, not a job.
See, but I feel like with a teacher and a choreographer, that's different. I feel like if your teacher is at the same audition as you, then...
We kind of been all over the place, but it's kind of like what are qualifications of a teacher? You know, would you rather have your teacher be a working dancer or just
I want my teacher
or a good dancer, or you know, like what are the qualifications of a good teacher? You know, is it the
Well,
following? All of that
for
stuff.
well, for me, I want my teacher to be knowledgeable in the craft that they're teaching me in, first of all. Not just regurgitating what has been told to them over the years. Because it tends to,
Period.
like, a lot of people literally take a class with somebody and then all of a sudden they have their own class and they're literally just regurgitating the same shit that's been told to them over again. They have nothing new to bring to the table. They have no real wisdom that they're bringing to the table. So for me, I want my teacher to actually know what the fuck they're talking about. A good teacher has multiple streams of wisdom, meaning they can tell you how to get it, how to work with this choreographer, how to be on set, what to do in these situations and what not to do in certain situations, not just teaching me steps. That's not a good teacher. Anybody can teach steps. My mother can teach you steps.
I mean, true.
But if you cannot teach me or educate me, because that's the thing, a teacher is different also from an educator. An educator is trying to get you from the classroom to your goals, not just come in there and teach you a routine. The routine ain't shit. That's a bonus.
Yeah. Come on. Come.
So if
Wait.
you literally walk in a classroom and all you have received, if all you have received from your teacher is a good dope routine, then you didn't train, you didn't learn anything, because you should already know how to dance before you get in that room. The steps shouldn't be anything for you. You should want your teacher to have you leaving that room going, shit, okay, I need to work on this, I can work on that. They want you to grow. That's what a teacher does. An educator, it forces you to look at yourself and go, oh great, I could go further than this point.
Period. Come on. You said that.
No, for real.
I mean, no, you're right. I mean, absolutely right. I mean, do you feel like we also were talking about like followings and like
That following
working
ain't
and things
shit.
like that. Like, does that
That
matter?
following it, that following doesn't mean it. Well, it means something to everybody now because apparently popularity is overpowering impact. Everybody wants to be popular and famous these days, and nobody wants to have any real like legacies and leave any substantial impact on somebody. It's just like, come in, you see my number, I'm cool, I'm dope. Well, let me just go ahead and give you this, and then get out my way and give me your money. Nobody's really invested anymore, so I don't give a fuck about that number. You could have 250,000 followers, but how much of an impact do you have on those 250 to the point where you're forcing them to grow to the next level?
Mm,
I don't
not
give two
really.
shits about how popular you are. Popularity fades.
Come on, come on. Okay, say that. Say
So
that.
that number doesn't mean anything to me, but apparently in these days, not to knock nobody, but it means a lot to everyone today. We go to people's
Right.
pages and we go, oh my God, they have 1 million followers. They must be dope. But little do you know is that 1 million followers doesn't necessarily mean that person is dope. It just means that they're popular. I could follow you just because I think you're cute, not because you actually have anything of substance.
I mean, that's true too. I mean, and that's real because, and I feel like a lot of people support people even in their choreography or the dancing because they're cute, not
Exactly, because
because
they want to
they're actually
smash, not
good.
because they're dope. Exactly. So that number means nothing. You don't know who's following you. Like, you don't know somebody following you down the street. You don't know who the fuck following you and what they're following you for. That's just a number.
I mean,
To
say
me,
that.
all I can say is to me. I can't speak for what it means for other people.
I
I'm just saying
mean,
for me,
yeah.
that's what it means.
I did. Oh yeah, you're right. You're gonna be. I'm sorry. I'm just like okay.
No,
So we're talking about the beginning, kind of like IG live classes and things like that.
okay.
How do you feel about this whole like IG live thing? Like, will it be saved? Is it mirrored? Like, what are we were saying like what are some like what is the dumbest questions you've gotten, or do you like it, or is it the same, or all that?
For the IG classes, I do, in a way, I like what it is doing for us as a community right now because it does keep us connected in a way, and at least still keeps us training in some form or fashion. Um, I have liked how it has connected me with my international students that I have not been able to teach for a very long time. So I appreciate it in that manner. Now, where I don't, where I fall on the other side of things is that I don't want people to get accustomed to thinking that this is, starting something that they're not going to finish once quarantine comes out. Like, people need to understand that this is temporary, and it's a temporary way of learning for especially somebody like me. I'm always going to value the classroom, like legit having people in front of me versus just a camera, regardless if it's a Zoom or not.
Yeah.
But for me, it is something that's temporary, and I think too many people are investing in it to make it their solid thing right now. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. You're trying to keep your flow going, but just make sure that when you do start these IG live classes and all this stuff, you keep it light, you keep it fun, but you also still keep it real and keep it funky with people like, all right, y'all, this is temporary. Don't get used to this because we are going to go back to normal, but still train as if we were in the classroom. As far as the questions that I've got, the only stupid question that I get tired of is not even that mirror question or that, because I just feel like that's people being dumb. My question is when people keep going, what is it that I have to work on? That's the question that gets on my nerves. You need to work on everything. Stop asking that question.
I mean, so do you feel a way? Do you say that? So okay, I have a question. When people come to your class for the first time, the very first time, like class 1, and never took you before, and they're like after class, like, okay, what should I work on? You know, or how do
Well,
I work
I'm
or
so
whatever.
sorry. I don't need to pay attention to these comments because I will let people know. Like, first thing and foremost, with me being in this, thank you so much, James, for having me. But please don't let your thumbs get you red because I don't know who's talking right now. So I'm not taking your Ripley classes. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else, but please watch your thumbs. Like, do not get no warrior thumbs with me because I will clap back at you in person and online. So let's just keep it cute and respectful. Yeah.
Oh no, who's saying that? I'm not taking it.
Because I don't need you to take my Ripley class if you're talking about mine because you probably couldn't keep up anyway.
Oh my god. Oh no. Okay.
But anyway, back
Let's
to the
keep it
conversation.
cute in the
That's what I'm
comments,
saying.
y'all.
Like, let's keep those thumbs at bay.
Let's keep it cute in the comments. Okay. All right, Danny. But no, but how do you feel about
Okay, I'm glad you're not talking about me. Then you shouldn't be in the conversation if you're not talking about me because I'm the one that's talking. But go ahead, James. Sorry.
No, sorry, no, yeah. I'm like, oh my god, stress. No, I was just saying, like, when people come to your class for the first time,
Uh-huh.
or first time taking you, I guess, and after class, they'll be like, okay, so what can I work on?
I
It's
don't
like,
I personally just don't like that question because again, it's a question, it's like it's almost like a validating question. Like you want me to validate the thoughts you had in your head about how you did in class.
yeah,
So that's why I feel like people ask that question all the time. It's like, what do I have to work on? You know you need to work on everything. First of all, sometimes it's the first day and you're asking me that question. Of course you need to work on everything. Shit, I'm still working on the routine. It's the first day I taught it.
I mean, it's right because I'll be going down on my own combos. I mean, if you take my class, I don't gotta be.
So that's the only thing. It's just like if you always keep in the back of your head or always keep in your spirit that you have everything to work on, you'll never settle. You'll always be striving for something. But if somebody comes in and tells you, oh, you should work on this, this, and this, then sometimes what people tend to do is they'll stop and only work on those things and then feel like they're perfect in every other area. So that's why I'm like, stop asking that question. If you really want to know what you can work on, just always feel like you can improve on everything, whether it's your musicality. Now, if you come to me and you're like, hey, Darrell, you know what? I'm struggling on musicality. I'm struggling on execution. How can I get better at that? And you're more specific, then I got you. Do you know what I mean? I'll answer those
Yeah.
questions. But the one where you're just like, oh, what can I work on? I'm going to always everything. That's the question I like. In the black shit, elevate, start promoting the good shit more. And that's just period. And that's all and like, I really want people to think about that because if you're sitting here, we can talk about this all day and be like, oh, this person is trash and this is and this. But as long as y'all's community and that generation is going to keep running into those lives, running into those classes and reposting that same bullshit over and over and over again, nothing is ever going to no one's ever going to really see the truth. So if you want the bullshit to go, start promoting the good shit at all times. And that's just not reposting. That's actually attending those people's classes that y'all respect so much. Get in there. And then when you leave, talk about them the same way you talked about the social media one. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only way shit is going to change is if people actually put in the action after the discussion.
You're absolutely right.
So I love y'all. Thank y'all for having this bitch on.